What's going on, everybody? I'm back again today with some pretty exciting DC news. I was very happy to hear about. I just found out about this last night, and it's regarding the DC animated universe. So, as you can see in the background over here, I've been watching some Justice League Unlimited, and basically, this news is that coming up this summer, in fact, like just in a few weeks, we're going to be getting two new. Well, one's kind of new. One of them is kind of new. It's a continuation of something that's already been going on, and the other one is a completely new comic book series taking place in the DC animated universe. And without further ado, the first one is, as we know, this past year, they continued the Batman animated series mythos and stories with Batman: The Adventures Continue. And this comic book was digital first, but then it did get like an actual comic book release in stores. And the trade paperback for what's being called Season 1 which I guess is the first year's worth of stories, is going to be coming out here soon. So if you want to check out Season 1 and see what you've missed out on if you haven't been reading this, definitely recommend that. This was actually really well received. Fans actually liked this a lot. It continued the Batman animated series storyline, somewhere in the realm of like prior to the Justice League being formed. But as you can see, it brought new things to the canon of the Batman animated series, such as finally introducing Jason Todd as Red Hood. It brought other characters into it, like Deathstroke. Who else was in here? I know there was more. Just various different covers we're looking at here for this stuff. Azrael. We finally got Azrael introduced here. So that was really cool. And coming up in here in this summer of 2021, we're actually going to get The Adventures Continue Season 2. And if you can see here, this little silhouette is an owl, like the Talon from the Court of Owls. This is exciting, and I'm actually really happy to see this because I love it when DC Comics, I love it when they'll put out an idea. Could be, the Court of Owls, death metal, whatever the hell it is. They'll put out an idea, and it'll get all whatever with DC's main comic book continuity, but sooner or later, some other faction or element of DC will come along and they will take that source material from the main comic book universe and they will adapt it into something else, whether it be like an animated movie universe or the DC animated universe. And I have a video on my channel called The Filter Effect. And basically what it is it's not so much a theory as it is like it's actually a thing. When the first time something is tried out, it's always a rough draft. You know what I mean, so to speak. And over time, every time it gets done, hopefully it gets done better. And so I'm really excited to see this Batman comic book taking place in my favorite version of DC, the DCAU. I'm very excited for this comic book to tackle the Court of Owls. Now, the Court of Owls storyline in Batman, like the main Batman comic and the main DC Comics universe, it was not a bad story by any means. Like I said, though, this is my favorite iteration of DC, so not only am I happy that it's being continued in at least some form, I'm also really happy that they are taking good stuff from the source material, the base comic universe, the main comic universe, and they're adapting it into their universe. This is kind of like the reason I call it the filter effect is because, when you have your raw source material for DC, it's their, main comic book universe. When you have that, not every idea for every story put out in that is going to be good. Some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be bad. You can only tell what's good and what's bad through hindsight, which is why I tend to like the more like animated movie universes or DC animated universe more than their main comic books, because with stuff like this, they get they have the benefit of being able to look back at all the source material of DC Comics and kind of cherry picking out just the good stuff, just the stuff that really worked well and fans really responded to well. And then they can make little tweaks and adjustments to it here and there to make it fit in their comic book or animated universe, and it'll work much more smooth. There will be less overall continuity contradictions that way. So I'm really excited to see them tackle that with Batman. I'm going to be definitely buying. I've read a little bit of the season 1. I have not finished it. I started reading enough of it digitally to where I realized I like this, and I'm gonna want to own a physical copy of it. So rather than just read it all online digitally, I want to have still something to read when I buy the physical copy. So I am gonna buy the season 1 trade paperback when it comes out. And then I've also just stopped at my local comic book store today, and I told them, hey, put me down for the Batman Adventures Continue season 2 when that starts hitting shelves. And so he added that to my pull box. Now the second thing, due to the success of the Batman the Adventures Continue comic, DC seems to have doubled down on continuing the animated universe through comics. And what are we getting? We're getting a brand new Justice League comic book taking place in the DC animated universe. And from what I can tell, we'll go through this. This is on DC's actual website, so you can check this out for yourself if you want to. From what I can tell, it takes place relatively shortly after Justice League Unlimited ended. Justice League Unlimited ended on somewhat of a cliffhanger. Not really. Lex Luthor and Darkseid just disappeared at the end of it, and we have no idea what happened to them. So hopefully we're going to figure that out and get some answers. But this 7-issue limited series is co-written by Justice League Unlimited producer James Tucker and series writer J.M. DeMatteis. I hope I'm saying that right, with art by Ethan Beavers. Basically, we're getting the same lineup from the cartoon Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Flash, which has been confirmed to still be Wally West. Why wouldn't it be? Green Lantern John Stewart, Hawkgirl, and Martian Manhunter banding together to face new dangers that not only threaten Earth, but the multiverse itself. So there's the key word right there, multiverse. In the DC animated universe, we didn't get a whole lot of acknowledgement of a multiverse. The only thing we did was when the Justice League crossed over in those few episodes and met the Justice Lords, alternate versions of themselves where they'd become like dictators and tyrants. That was the only little inclination that there was a multiverse. There was also an episode where they time traveled back into World War II, and Vandal Savage was doing some stuff there, and then they jumped forward in time and he had won the war, and Batman was leading an army of renegade soldiers. They touched on it briefly, but it seems like with this comic book series we are going to get a definitive introduction to the DC multiverse in terms of the DC animated universe continuity. So this says that in the debut issue, just to kind of tee up some major plot points and story arcs, there is a being wandering the universe searching for its true purpose, but what it finds out on the farthest edges of the cosmos will change not just our universe, but many. So once again, referencing the multiverse. Meanwhile, the war for the throne of Apocalypse arrives on Earth, and the true ruler will only be decided one way: who can destroy the Justice League. So that's coming straight off of the end of Justice League Unlimited, where we saw Lex Luthor and Darkseid disappear. As we've seen before in Justice League Unlimited. As we've seen before in Justice League Unlimited, there was a period of time where Darkseid was gone, and during that time, the different factions and forces of Apocalypse started to wage a civil war amongst themselves for who would rule. And then Darkseid showed up again and put an end to that, but now once again he's gone. So it looks like that civil war of Apocalypse civil war has resumed, and it looks like they're kind of, rather than just straight up fight each other, they're all going to do kind of a almost like a tournament to see who can kill the Justice League, because it's always the Justice League that thwarts their plans for universal domination or whatever. So that also makes sense. It's like, hey, one, we need to take these guys out. They always foil our evil plans. And then two, what better way to determine who is worthy to rule Apocalypse? So it's like two birds with one stone. So that makes sense. It has also been confirmed in some preview artwork that the being wandering the universe and the one who's going to discover stuff about the multiverse, that is Amazo. The DCAU version of Amazo. He's like just completely shiny gold, not the typical comic book version of Amazo. But if you've watched, Justice League or Justice League Animated Series or Justice League Unlimited, you know what I'm talking about. So they've reviewed in some preview artwork that it is Amazo, and apparently he's going to go discover the true nature of the multiverse, and that's going to get it brought in to all of this. Really excited for this. Like I said, DC Animated Universe is my favorite version of DC. It's by far the best. I will argue that till the day that I die. And, just with one of my recent videos talking about the problem with modern comic books, I can't help but, bring that back up again here. This addresses that problem. Look at what we've got. For this universe, it's like, hey, you're current on all the DC Animated Universe stuff to watch. Awesome. Now, if you want to stay current with it, you got to do two things. You got to read Batman: The Adventures Continue. Cool. What are we going to get? One comic book a month? Maybe two? Easy. And then you got to read Justice League Infinity, which is, again, what? Like one or two comic books a month? Easy. They're not doing, here's our new DCAU line of comic books where there's a Superman book and a Batman book and a Wonder Woman book and a Green Lantern book and a Justice League book and a Suicide Squad book and a Teen Titan. No, they're not doing all that. It's Batman and Justice League Infinity. And if you read those two, you know what the hell's going on. So I'm really excited about that. Very happy about that. I will definitely be reading both of these series to stay current on my favorite version of DC. So, yeah, there was one other point that I wanted to mention, but I seem to have brain farted on it. It's kind of escaped me at this moment. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I can't wait. Anybody else excited for this, please leave some feedback in the comments below. Give this video a like if you liked what you saw here. Maybe subscribe to the channel, and otherwise, I will see you guys next time.